All right, here is a video working through problem 5, part B on our chapter 5 review. In this problem, all right, I see that it is a non-right triangle. And anytime we have a non-right triangle, I'm going to have to use law of sines or law of cosines. Now, I can tell that this is a law of cosines problem because I see one angle and it's between two side lengths. Anytime you have a non-right triangle with one angle between two side lengths, you're going to use the law of cosines. Now, I know we're not talking about A, but if we look at A, all right, this is not a law of cosines problem. This would be a law of sines problem because I see two angles inside of a non-right triangle with just one side length. All right, and so that's a good way to tell the difference there between what am I going to use, law of sines or law of cosines? Well, if I see two angles in a non-right, that's going to be law of sines. If I see one angle in a non-right, that's going to be the law of cosines. Okay, so let's get down to how to use the law of cosines to find our missing side AB. Now, the law of cosines is as follows. It is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b times the cosine of the angle C. I call it angle C, and that just really stands for the one angle they're giving you. Okay, so breaking down the equation, we have our cosine of angle C. Angle C is the one angle they give you. In this case, it would be 95. In the law of cosines, like I said, there's always going to just be one angle, and that angle is always going to be angle C. Now, for little c, the little c here, that represents the side length across from your angle. So in the 95, this AB is across from the 95. That makes this right here your little c, side little c. And then the other two sides, you get to choose what you want to be A and what you want to be B. In this problem, I'm going to make 20 my A, and I'm going to make 22 my B. Okay? So now that I have my sides labeled, what I can do is start plugging in to my equation. C squared, well, since, oops, I want to use my math notes box, equation notes here. C squared stays C squared because side C, that's what we're going to be looking for. A squared becomes 20 squared, so I'm plugging in 20 for my A, plus 22 squared, because I'm plugging in 22 for my B, minus 2 times A, which is 20 in this problem, times B, which is 22 in this problem, times the cosine of angle C, which in this problem is 95. Now, when this is so there's really two hard parts when it comes to law of cosines. One, making sure you're plugging things in correctly to the equation. And then two is going from this point throughout using the correct order of operations. So our order of operations, we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. All right? And I don't have parentheses. I know I have some here, but that just represents multiplication. And so the first thing I'm going to start with is E exponents. All right? And I'm going to do my exponents here. C squared stays C squared. I do 20 squared, that gives me 400. I do 22 squared, which gives me 484. I think it does. Let me check my calculator to be sure. I sometimes forget, and sometimes my mental math isn't good. So 22 squared is, yes, 484. And then I have minus, and I'm leaving the rest right now. So I did my exponents. I'm going to leave the rest. Minus 2 times 20 times 22, again, times the cosine of 95. Now that the exponents are done, I move on to multiplication and division. So I don't have division, but I have multiplication here. So what I'm going to do is this chain of multiplication here. And what I do, and this is kind of unique to me, and some people do it, some people don't, but I'm going to carry this negative with me, or the subtraction with me. And what I'm going to do is negative 2 times 20 times 22 times the cosine of 95. Okay? Now, by carrying this negative sign with me, if I do this multiplication and I get a positive, that's going to become an addition now. Okay? If I carry this with me and I do the multiplication, it becomes a negative number, then this stays a subtraction. Okay? So I'm going to go and I'm going to do the multiplication. I'm going to leave the rest right now. And so I get C squared equals 400 plus 484. And now I'm going to do this multiplication. Okay? I'm doing negative 2 times 20 times 22 times the cosine of 95, and that gives me a positive 76.697. And there's some other decimal after that. I'm going to go with 76.697. Okay, it's a positive 76, and so this becomes a plus 76.697. And then from here, I'm almost done. I just need to do this addition. So I get c squared equals, and I gotta use my calculator to do this, 400 plus 484 plus 76.697. And what I get is 960.697. Now the last part here is I don't want c squared, I just want c. So I need to square root both sides. So square rooting both sides, that gets rid of c squared, and it just leaves me with, if I can get it, it just leaves me with c. And then I do the square root of 960.697, and I get 30.995, which if I round up is just going to give me 31, and I'm okay with 31 as the answer, because I know if I round it up, that's what I would get. All right, so that is breaking down the law of cosines there. Again, knowing the equation is huge, and then being able to plug in and work step by step following the order of operations is what it's all about. All right, any more questions I will try to address before we have the test tomorrow.